Hey, welcome back to Working Class Customs YouTube channel. Welcome back once again to our favorite place, Stable B. We were just out at Utah Motorsports Campus, otherwise known as UMC, that is in, what do you know it, Utah. And while we were there, we did a track review, so make sure you go check that out. Link will be up here. Also, while we were there, we did a podcast. You should go check that out also. If you are not listening to JK Moto Podcast, check it out. It's one of the greatest weekly motorcycle podcasts in the world. Definitely in the US for sure. We specialize in track days, club racing, great entertainment, and we cover a whole bunch of other great stuff. Have some good guests, so go check it out. You can also follow us on Instagram at JK Moto Podcast, and that is my spiel before we get in this video. But while we were at UMC, or Utah Motorsports Campus, as we just mentioned, we had a very unique opportunity while we were there that only the club that races there offers. One of the only clubs in America to offer this, the only one that I've found so far. And it's a very unique and awesome experience that has less rules than similar experiences in other clubs across the country. So if you're curious what that is, what it's all about, make sure you stick around in the video. Before you stick around in the video, go down real quick, click subscribe on the channel, throw a like on the video, and then if you have any questions about this while we're going throughout, please leave your comments or questions down in the comments. Also, anyone that's watching this that has done this before also, if you have any comments or anything that I miss, I love the feedback, so please throw that down in the comment section also. Let's get into the video. Right next to me here is my 2019 Aprilia RSV4 1100 factory. And if you look at the front here, there's some tape down there. There's some tape on the back here. There's no belly pan underneath, and there's a few other things that might tell you that this is in fact a street bike. It is not a track bike. It is not safe for the track, or at least in the form that I took it to UMC in, it was not, right? It still had license plates on it. It's definitely still registered on the road, had working light bulbs in it and everything else. So I showed up to UMC. I did a track day that weekend. If you're new to this channel, please go check out some other videos. We got a whole bunch of track day type videos on the channel, but if you're not new to the channel, you've been here before, you know what a track bike is. And anyway, if you're on this channel, you most likely know what a track bike is and what the difference is. So we got to the track day, we taped up our lights, and we did a track day. Standard, 7 sessions. All right, everything's good to go. Now, insert the unique opportunity. That weekend happened to be paired up with a race weekend for Utah Superbikes Association, or USBA, as they call it. USBA runs a 2-day race weekend, so Saturday and Sunday, and they have all sorts of classes down there. Like, I'm talking all sorts of classes, but one of the most awesome classes I think that they have is not even technically a race class at all, because you don't need a race license for it. And I'm here to tell you all about it today. That class is called the Street GP. So, the Street GP. Now, it sounds a little interesting. Street GP class, what does that mean? I'm talking, you show up to a round for USBA at UMC. They're running either the East or the West. This particular weekend, they were running the East. Before you get there, you sign up online on their website. You can also sign up when you get there in person, depending on if they're full or not. So you don't have to sign up online, but you save some money if you do. And for less than $200, less than the price of a track day, less than the price of a race weekend by far, and honestly quite cheap, and that's, I'm talking like quite a bit less than 200. I think that's like closer to 200 if you sign up the morning of, but if you sign up online like I did, I got in for $125. You can sign up to race your motorcycle, street legal motorcycle, with the Utah Superbikes Association. So there's a whole bunch of club racers out there. They all have licenses. Their bikes are all race bikes. They're all outfitted with all this crazy Whamadine stuff. They've got safety wire. They've got the belly pans underneath, the full race fairings. They've got like 29 billion sets of tires with them. They've got all this awesome stuff. And you show up with your bike that doesn't have a belly pan, doesn't have any safety wire, still has lights on it, and you don't have a race license, and you get to race your motorcycle that weekend. So it's an awesome class, and the biggest thing I'm going to stress right now is you don't need a race license, and it costs you less than $200, cheaper than a track day. Now, it's not just, hey, go, yeah, have fun, do a great race. There's a lot of other stuff that comes in between before they send you out on the racetrack to go race the other people that signed up with you, but in the end, you will in fact do a race. Is one of the cheapest ways to race in America. You don't need a race license to do it. Now, before we get into the awesome parts of this video and how amazing I think this opportunity is, you do only get this shot once, and if you're not from Utah, it's probably quite a trip to get out there, but if you are from Utah or any of the surrounding areas and you're looking to do something like that, or you want a taste for racing, or you're like, maybe I want to race, maybe I don't, I just want to see what it looks like, or you've never even done a track day before, all of the above apply to this class. That's what they're looking for, that's what they want, and that's what they'll give you. And so you can show up. They have one more round this year. This is 2024 right now. In September, there is one more round. You can still sign up today and enter that and race your street bike on a racetrack without a race license. We do need to talk about what it actually looks like. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to give you a review on it and kind of give you a quick walkthrough of what it looks like. So we'll start right off with the basics of the schedule for the day. You do need to show up pretty early in the day. Tech opens at 7, and there's a mandatory riders meeting at 8. Yep, because track goes hot at 9. Yep, so mandatory riders meeting at 8. Every racer's got to be there. So I guess racers meeting, riders meeting, whatever you want to call it. Much like a track day. So you show up, you get your bike teched. The nice part about a race weekend though is that tech opens the night before. So if you're already there for the track day, you can get your bike teched the night before, get your helmet teched, and you're good to go. Then you show up the next morning, you go to your riders meeting, and then you're actually going to go immediately to the classroom. And you're going to spend most of your morning, when you're not riding, in the classroom. It sounds a little cumbersome to get off the track immediately, go to a classroom, stay in the classroom the whole time, and get back out on the racetrack. But if you ever done instruction on a track day before, it's the exact same way. And what they're offering you is an opportunity to race your motorcycle without a license. So you're gonna need some classroom sessions, some learning with that. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But you're gonna go to the riders meeting, track goes hot at 9. So between the riders meeting and 9 o'clock, you're gonna be in the classroom doing your first classroom session of the day. And then you go out for a practice. You get a 15-minute practice right at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock, you go out. Yeah, I think it was 9 o'clock. Anyway, at some point at the top of the hour, you're gonna go out for your first 15-minute practice. Now this first one, they're gonna lead everyone out onto the track to show you how to get on the racetrack. They're gonna come around, put their hand up to get off the racetrack and show you how to get back off the racetrack. That way everyone's following and everyone knows how to get on and off. And then they kind of release you to just go do an open practice session, much like a track day, but you got a race coming up, so this is a practice session instead. It's 15 minutes long. You can't just be on your own, but there's also coaches and control riders out there that are actually just Utah SBA racers, so they know the track pretty well. You can absolutely get some help from them, learn the lines, other things like that. Now, while they're out there, they're paying attention to you to make sure that you are riding safely. And if you're not riding safely, well, that's what the classroom session is for. So after the 15-minute session, you're gonna come back in and head back over to the classroom. We're gonna all be in the classroom, we'll hang out there together. These control riders are gonna come back in and give you another sweet kind of briefing on what was going on out there, but also just on the street GP and on racing in general. So we've got some clips of a couple of those classroom sessions that we'll insert here, kind of in between a few of these points that I mentioned. But the classroom session, they have like the literature that they gotta meet. That's not the curriculum, not literature that they have to meet. They have it lined out. They've been using that for a couple of years while they've been doing this. So they're gonna cover all of that stuff, absolutely, but they're also gonna cover the things that they see and the things that they think of. And these guys have a lot of experience because they race this track literally all the time. Some of them have been doing it for 20 years. So a lot of experience in this room, besides you and I, but that's okay. So you'll do your first classroom session, which that one's gonna go over just kind of general, motorcycle track day and racing things and what it takes to have a race bike versus a track bike, what type of gear you need. So that's another sweet thing about the Street GP is that you don't have to have a two-piece or a one-piece suit. You don't have to have a back protector. They still recommend those things because you are racing out on a racetrack, but they are not required because it is not a sanctioned race by the Utah SBA. It's a race. So again, we'll get into the race a little bit more later. So that's your first practice session, is just kind of the like how do we get here? What do we do when we get here? Boom, sweet. Classroom session done. You head over, get some water, get some food, whatever, and you head back out for your second practice session at the top of the hour again. Once again, 15 minutes long. Once again, the controller riders are out there. Difference this time, they're not gonna lead you on and off the track this time because, well, we figured that out last time. We're good to go. We just get 15 minutes all to ourselves to go practice. Now, the coaches and control riders are still out there. They're once again keeping their eyes open. See if anyone's doing anything crazy or anything they don't like. And they're there if you need their help and you want to see how some lines go. So use that help. Now you get it done with that second 15-minute practice session, you're right back in the classroom again. You kind of see the drift here. You see how it's going. This is the schedule. This makes sense. Much like a class day or a track day with classroom sessions in between. Now, when I say these control riders are out there watching you and looking to make sure no one's doing anything unsafe, what I mean is predictability.
Hold your line and be predictable. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you are, especially at this stage of your guys' journey. We don't care if you're going really slow. Just be predictable, right? Hold your line, keep your eyes up, focus on what's in front of you, faster people that come up behind you, it's their responsibility to get by you safely.
Predictability on a racetrack is one of the #1 things that makes a racer versus just a dude that's doing a track day. And that's what they're looking for out there, is making sure that everyone's predictable and everyone's following the general flow of the racetrack. You don't want someone taking complete opposite lines and throwing off other people that might be faster and coming around corners like crazy. So predictability is what they're looking for. So keep that in mind while you're out there. But once again, if you've never been before and you've never done a track day before, or whatever it might be, feel free to ask those control riders to follow them around. Absolutely, it's a great opportunity. Second practice session, second classroom session. This classroom session is gonna get a little bit deeper into the workings of the racetrack and the workings of racing. And so talking about how to safely pass people, talking about when it's not safe to pass, talking about a little bit of theory for racing.
Made it there. So keep that in mind and keep things in perspective. Tough but fair. You know, we like tough competitive racing, but don't be reckless and just punt people off the track. Again, we're gonna talk to you if that becomes a pattern. Look, if the season championship is on the line and it's your time to push, 2 years ago, the last race of the year, I had to come in second to win. You're damn right I was pushing that day. But the way I got to that point, to be in that position, is I was 90 to 95% most of the time, and a lot of my competitors were crashing out. So, you know, at this level especially, there's something to be said for leaving a little bit of your capability in reserve.
Right? When you're doing a track day, you want to pass to the other person's comfort, and everyone just needs to be comfortable out there. When you're racing, there's a checkered flag. There's a trophy or a medal or points or at least something, you know, brownie points, bragging rights, whatever it might be. Those are all on the line, and so people tend to get a little bit more crazy. So there's still a safe way to ride and race and pass and race on a racetrack as opposed to a track day. And that's what they want to make sure everyone does safely. So that's what we're kind of starting to get into in this second classroom session after the second practice. All right, sweet. So you're done with that second practice session, or sorry, classroom session. Once again, you've learned a little bit about the, we'll call it the mechanics of the racetrack.
Right, so when you're gonna get off the track, we're making that decision pretty early on, right? Like you're deciding over here that it's time to get off the track. You start putting your hand up. Like he said, you want to stay off the racing line. So in this turn, the racing line is on the inside. So stay on the outside here. Over here, you kind of have to hug the inside, even though it is the racing line in this last turn before the exit. You're going to hug the inside, keep your hand up. If you're not comfortable with your hand up, going around the turn, you put your foot out. You can get both hands on the bar.
What they just said, if you're not riding on the line trying to go fast, either one hand's up or one foot is out.
Exactly.
And so if you've done a track day before, up to this point, a lot is gonna sound very familiar. If you've watched any YouTube videos online about how to ride, how to race, anything like that, how to get fast at a racetrack, you've heard some of these things that they're mentioning, but they're giving them to you from a little bit different angle, and that angle being specifically like, hey, you are racing here today at this racetrack. So we can tell you the things that, like this turn, you want to maybe do this, or you don't want to do this specifically. It'll kind of throw you off the next turn, or whatever it might be. They have the details for that racetrack that you're at racing. But you get done with that second practice or classroom session, and you head out for your third and final practice session before the race. So once again, this is a 15-minute practice session. They are still out there, the control riders and the coaches, and they're out there to show you some lines if you want, to help you if you want, just like before, and to watch everyone and make sure everyone's gonna be safe. So that's it, that's done. 15-minute practice session number 3, over. You head back to the classroom for your final classroom session of the day. I did say it was less than the price of a track day. You are not gonna get the same amount of time on track as a track day. You're gonna get 3 morning sessions of 15 minutes and then 1 4-lap race. But I can tell you from personal experience, because I literally just did this like a week or 2 ago, that at the end of the day, the amount of track time that you get feels like just as much, if not more, than a track day, because it involves a race at the end. And yeah, the race is only 4 laps, but man, the adrenaline and the feels and everything in the brain is so much different when you're racing than it is on a track day. So you do feel like you still got quite a bit of track time, but it's also cheaper than a track day, so don't feel like you're missing out on too much. Anyway, you head in for this third and final classroom session after your third and final practice session. This classroom session is a little bit different. It's geared towards one thing only, and that is the race that is about to happen in about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what the schedule looks like that morning. So, head in, and they're gonna explain to you exactly how to get on the racetrack for a race, how to grid up for the race, what's gonna happen before the lights go out, and what you do when the lights go out. Then you're gonna repeat it back to them. And then they're probably gonna say it again, and you're gonna repeat it back to them again. And we're gonna go around the classroom, make sure no one has any questions. We're gonna nail down any last little safety things that we want to. We're gonna nail down any last questions on, how do I take corner 7? I don't know how to take corner 7. Is corner 7 a double apex? Is it a triple apex? Does it not have an apex? Am I supposed to brake late and dive in, or am I supposed to like kind of coast in and then get on the gas early? That's not actually turn 7 at UMC East, but it was just an example. So that is your time, your final time to answer or ask any of those questions before the race comes up. Now, once again, I just want to point out, for less than the price of a track day and without a race license, you can go out and race other people that also have motorcycles that are also going to be street legal, and these people also don't have their race license. So you want to talk about bragging rights. You could be the fastest guy out of all the street riders in Utah right there by racing at the Street GP. And once again, if you're from another state, I still think it's worth checking out. It's awesome and it's cheap, and you don't have to have a license. It's a great way to tell yourself, or to decide for yourself, whether or not racing motorcycles is something you do want to pursue, or you just want to keep doing track days, or you've never even done either of those things. You're like, I don't know, I just have a motorcycle, I want to do something with it. Great opportunity, go take advantage of it. There's one more round this year and there'll be 5 next year, absolutely. Take advantage of it. But we are gonna talk about, in this final practice, or classroom, I keep getting those mixed up and I apologize, final classroom session, how to grid up on the racetrack, the safety kind of mechanisms that go with that, and then we're gonna go out and practice it. Once, and then you're gonna do it. And so that's what, like, the whole build-up for the whole day, you got all morning, all this build-up. If you did the track day before, it really feels like a day and a half. All this build-up, you go out, you come around, you throw your hand up, you get in the grid, the guy in front leaves, the lights turn red, you rev the bike, the lights turn off, and you're gone. And you race to about the 4th corner, and you slow down, and you come around, and you re-grid up, and you do it again. And when you do it again, that final time, those lights come on, you rev your motorcycle, and you're watching, and time slows down, and all the sounds leave, and all the feelings show up. That light goes out, you release that clutch and get on that gas, and you're headed into turn 1 with everyone else in that group with you. You are officially racing a motorcycle. And it is awesome. And I can say that personally. I've done it, I did it, I won it. It was awesome. It was amazing. One of the best experiences I've ever had. A great introduction into racing. And I think, like I said many times now, and I understand that, but it's a very unique and awesome opportunity the USBA offers. Now, why I think everyone should go do this, the only reason I would say don't do it is you only get one shot. Once you do it once, you're done. They're not gonna let you, well, I can't say that, I guess. I don't know for sure if you can do it again, but if you get your race license, you're not gonna go back and race a street GP. You're not gonna want to either, but you're definitely not going to. But the big benefits are your bike, track day rules. You, track day rules. Race license, not necessary. Classroom sessions, available, mandatory, gonna learn a lot, gonna figure out what you need to know to get out there and race. Coaches.
Race schools are good, like this one. We have some great coaches in our club, AZ. He helps a lot of us win. So it's a great investment. Investing in coaching and training for yourself and what's between your ears is a much better investment than I'm going to get a 2 mil motor in my R6 and get 5 more horsepower out of it. It doesn't matter. It matters how you're approaching the process.
Control riders with a lot of experience racing on that track that you're going to race on, absolutely available. Everything's available to you. The price is cheap. It's right. You don't have to do anything crazy to your bike that you wouldn't do for a track day anyway, which anyone with a sport bike should be doing track days. That's what we preach on this channel. I think it's an awesome opportunity. So that's my spiel for the most part. Please understand that when you go to get your race license actual, if you decide that that's what you want to do, you want to start club racing motorcycles, you will do what's called an NRC, New Rider Course or Certification School. It's usually one day. It consists of many practices like this street GP and then a mock race at the end of the day. And once again, the control riders are out there looking for safety issues, looking for predictability, looking for all the things that would make them say, nah, you're not quite ready for a race license yet. You need to fix these things, but hopefully you fix them during the day. And then you go race and prove that you guys can all in fact race safely and that you have the guts that it takes to race, and you get your race license. That's the NRC. The street GP is not that, but it is a very good introduction to that and very similar style to how that would go, just kind of sweet and condensed into one morning. I will say just a couple things to note before we finish out the video. You do race with another class behind you, so you're gonna grid up at the front of the grid. Halfway back the grid is another class of motorcycles called the Super Street Bikes. They race behind you. They leave later, so they won't catch up to you, and if they do, whatever, you just kind of let them filter through. It's actually kind of cool that they have double gridding like that, because if you're a slower person, like myself, you get the opportunity to get passed by some really fast people. And if you haven't been passed by fast people before, it can kind of knock you a little bit senseless at first, but eventually you get used to it, and then, well, you speed up, and then you beat them. And then you make it to Moto America and then Moto GP one day, and you become a professional racer. But in the meantime, you're racing the street GP. So you do grid up with people behind you. And I think one of the coolest parts is that after you're done, you're gonna finish around noon, you know, right before lunch, then you eat lunch, and then you have an opportunity to finish out the day with USBA and watch the rest of the races that day and stick around for Sunday and watch that too. Also, the community there, the family in the paddock is awesome. You can ask anyone any questions. There will be a working class customs tent there, so if you pop by, say hi to Cole, he'll be there. But you can ask literally anyone anything about the bike, about questions. You know, I had someone come ask me like, hey man, where should I park? And I was like, well, if I were you, I would find the control riders. I'd go park next to them if you can, because they're gonna be able to give you all the insight that you need while you're doing this. But that's about all I have for this video and all I have for the street GP. So hopefully you guys are kind of interested. Like I said, this is a sweet and condensed kind of version of what it looks like, and I don't want to give too much away, but I just want to give you an idea of what the street GP is like and give my opinions of what I felt about it. So I think it's absolutely awesome. I think it's 100% worth it. If you're thinking about racing or you're on the edge or you have no idea about any of this stuff, it's an awesome opportunity there in Utah at a sweet track. East or West, they're both great. And it's pretty sweet that USBA offers that. And then you can get your race license with them and keep racing, or you can go on and go get your race license wherever else, but you've kind of had a taste for it. You get what a race school looks like, or a new rider certification, or new racer certification school day, whatever looks like. And so you've done it before. Hopefully that answers some questions, that gave you guys the opinions you were looking for. If you're looking into doing it, I'll have links down in the description to Utah SBA's website. And so you can go check them out. You can sign up there. And like I said, you have one more chance this year. And if you don't want to do it this year, you definitely can do it next year. And I traveled from South Carolina to go do it. So I can say that traveling across the country to do it is 100% worth it. Helps that I have family that lives out there, but 100% worth it. So go check it out. Ride with Utah SBA or talk your local club into doing something similar. We'll see. As of right now, USBA is the only one that offers it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure if you didn't already, you click the subscribe button down below and throw a like on the video. And like I said, please, if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section. If you're afraid to throw them in the comment section, that's all right. I've got an Instagram at JKMotoPodcast. Send me a DM on there with any questions you have. I'll answer any of them. And I'm happy to talk about motorcycles and motorcycle related things literally all day. So that's all we got. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.